Okay, so we're going to do some restorative, but we're going to start off with a little bit of kind of focus and concentration. So one of the things, if you kind of consider the 8 petals of yoga, we've got the, you've got yama and niyama, which is the, yama are the kind of ethical principles by which we try to live our lives. So it's, so it's things like ahimsa, which is one of the ones that always kind of feels really appropriate because it means non-violence, and obviously that means trying to be non-violent to each other, but also to ourselves. We often beat ourselves up when we're, when we feel like we're not doing well at something or whatever. And ahimsa is kind of about being kind to yourself, really, and not expecting too much of yourself, but expecting enough from yourself. So yama is the kind of ethical principles by which we try and live our lives. And then you've got niyama, which is really kind of approaches to self-discipline, the ways that we incorporate those yama into our lives. So we don't really talk very much about those in the West because we kind of, when we do yoga in the West, we kind of tend to just focus on asana, which is the kind of physical stuff. So the pose asana, so trikonasana, Parivrita, Parshvakonasana. It's all got asana at the end. So asana is the physical pose. Then it's pranayama, and sometimes we look at pranayama and pratyahara. So pranayama is the kind of energy of the breath. And pratyahara is the withdrawing of the senses, and that kind of feels like, you're kind of, that definition feels to a degree that you're kind of just becoming this this like hermit at the top of a hill, and you don't want anything to do with the world. That isn't what withdrawing the senses is all about. It's basically trying to draw all of that brain activity and draw it inward, and to just draw your attention inward. So pratyahara is the withdrawing of the senses. Then you've got dharana, and that is concentration. Dhyana, which is meditation, and then samadhi, which is this kind of blissful state, which, maybe, I don't know if we ever kind of quite get there, but dharana is this idea of focus, and focus and concentration. Concentration is how it is usually translated. But one of the ways that we can really learn to focus our brains is by stilling our eyes. So I want you to just sit in cross legs and just lift and open the chest as we would do with a normal asana class, and just listen to the sound of your breath, and try to keep your eyes just focused just on something ahead of you. So you don't have to necessarily look at the screen. There's probably not very much to look at, but just try and keep your eyes still in the sockets. Just listen to the breath. Feel that you can extend your spine upwards. Soften your jaw and your tongue. And feel the skin from the face to the feet. So concentration sometimes comes from just this kind of enforced stillness of the eyes. So it's a good practice to just give yourself some time whenever you're feeling anxious or nervous about something that's coming up. Just to give yourself some time, just sit in a quiet place, just focusing your eyes on something that doesn't move. That doesn't mean that you can't blink, of course. So when you blink, everything goes a little bit kind of 80s pop video, doesn't it? Kind of oversaturated, kind of noisy, slightly distorted image, almost like screen burn. The more you focus on the stillness of your eyes, the more we start to experience quietness of the brain. So one particularly nice image in Light on Life by BKS Iyengar is this idea of the perfectly still surface of a lake. So the surface of the lake reflects the world above it. And the surface ripples when there are issues and undercurrents. But sometimes we can learn to bring stillness and focus and softness by just focusing on the surface, and then the surface penetrates down into the depths of the water. Just keep holding onto your knees and then close your eyes, but be conscious of continuing to just keep your eyes still in the sockets as though you're still gazing in front of you. And begin to experience the breath, feeling the expansion of the chest, the rising, the upward and outward expansion of the chest as you inhale. Breathing evenly into both lungs, breathing evenly out of both lungs. Just softly allow the eyeballs to look down into the chest cavity, but without any strain in the eyes, without dropping your head. Just allow your eyes to look down into the chest. Continuing to experience the breath, listening to the sounds of the breath as they enter and as they exit. And concentration isn't easy. We find ourselves easily distracted. We find our minds drift easily. But if we just focus on the experience of the breath, I'm talking about the experience of the breath rather than the breath, the physiological responses to the breath. When we focus on the experience of the breath and we still our eyes and feel the skin from the face down to the feet. Although concentration is difficult, eventually we start to feel the calming, quietening effects of focus. Soften your jaw. When we feel anxious, we often express that through the mouth. It's not necessarily by words, but by the jaw. So consciously draw the lower teeth away from the upper teeth. Soften your tongue in your mouth. Notice that when you soften your tongue, you soften in the eyeballs, you soften around the forehead. Soften your throat. Just continuing to experience the breath. Maintain the grip of your knees, the stillness of your eyes. Draw the chin forwards and down so that it sits in the notch between the collarbone and so it sits between the notch between the collarbones. chest to chin, chin to chest. Notice that that probably hardens the throat. So soften the throat. Experience the breath. Keeping the eyes soft, the jaw soft, the tongue soft, the throat soft. So Jalandhara Bandha separates the warm, hot energy of the solar plexus in the diaphragm region from the cool energy of the lunar plexus in the brain. Just continuing to observe the breath. Maintaining Jalandhara Bandha, raise Mula Bandha, so incorporate Mula Bandha. So we lift from the anal sphincter up into the diaphragm, maintaining softness of the jaw and of the breath, and observing the experience of the breath. Notice that as you lift in Mula Bandha, the legs become part of the pose. They become more consciously engaged. So you can feel the skin and the flesh and the muscle of the legs. Feel the lift of Mula Bandha, that internal lift. You can feel the skin of the torso. You feel the internal breath. You feel the skin and the flesh and the muscles and the bones of the arms. Just ensure that your forehead is in line with your chin, in line with your belly button, in line with your perineum. Softly release Mula Bandha, release Jalandhara Bandha. And then just gently open your eyes. If you're wearing glasses, just take them off for a moment or two. Rub the palms of your hands really briskly together, creating heat in the palms of your hands. And then cover your eye sockets with your hot palms. And then take 10 inhalations and exhalations. And then just gently release your eyes in the backs of the palms onto your hands, lift and open your chest. Just stay seated, extending the spine upwards, just listening to the sound of the breath. Okay, just for a few rounds, we're going to do a couple of brahmari pranayamas. So we'll do that with Sanmukhi mudra. So again, this is good for, you might want to stretch your legs out a little. This is good for, again, just focusing and quietening the mind. So index finger sits on the lid of the upper eye, or the upper eyelid rather. The index finger sits in contact with that. And then the ring finger finds that bone of the bridge of the nose and just constricts the airway slightly for the in-breath. So the in-breath becomes kind of necessarily deeper, and then the little finger connects to the index finger. So middle finger over the eyelid, index finger connecting, ring finger, just the tip of the ring finger just constricting slightly with the bridge of the nose, little finger connecting, and then the thumbs sit in the little flap of the ears. The elbows are out to the sides. So just gently blocking out the light, block the sound out, and then brahmari is just normal in breaths and hummed out breaths. So take a normal out breath, a normal in breath. And just one more. And then just bring the breath back to a normal rhythm. Just release Sanmukhi mudra. Bring the hands back down onto the knees, palms facing upwards. So your eyes might be a little blurry to start off with, but just, again, just use your eyes. Use the stillness of your eyes. Just keep the eyes still in the sockets. Just continuing to experience the breath. So in a moment, we're going to just go down into some very simple restorative poses. So brahmari brings quietness to the brain. Prepare yourself for bringing yourself from this position, and just stretch your legs out. And then let's get our stuff ready for a little bit of restorative practice. So get your bolster, have a couple of blocks for your feet. If you've got one of these eye pillows, it's good to have that. It's very calming, it's very quietening. If you haven't got an eye pillow, then instead of the pillow, you can get yourself a belt. Take it out of a loop if it's in a loop, and then just fold the belt over on itself. Just make sure you don't twist it, and then you can rest the belt over your eyes. It gives you the type of darkness that's really, really useful for restorative poses. So just have the bolster. So our basic relaxation pose, we're going to stay here for quite a long time. So you're going to have the blocks underneath your feet. You've got the blocks underneath, sorry, the bolster underneath your knees, and then just bring yourself down onto the floor. Just allow yourself to just experience the straight line of the floor initially. Perhaps if you've been sitting at a desk all day, suddenly just giving into the floor just feels amazing. It feels as though the body is being kind of steamrolled into, you know, like when you tenderize a steak. Squeeze the tension out of the skin. So just allow yourself the permission to release. If you've got something to cover your eyes with, put it over your eyes now. So allow your body to just release into the floor. After being there for a little while, you may notice that perhaps this is not comfortable. Or perhaps it is comfortable, but if it's not comfortable, don't style it out. Just move, shuffle yourself around a little bit until it is comfortable. So this restorative practice, part of what is so lovely about the practice is that really there's no self-discipline required. Literally just laying on the floor, just experiencing the floor, feeling that we are allowing the body to just release and let go. But we often have to give ourselves permission to relax. Because relaxation isn't a natural state. The body naturally holds its own tension. And so we learn to unhook the muscles. We learn to have no expectation of our practice other than the rejuvenating effects of energy. And that's certainly enough, isn't it? Observe the body, observe any areas of tension. So breathe evenly and fully. Allow your body to become heavy on the floor. Observe where your skin makes contact with the floor or the equipment. Draw your attention to the soles of your feet. Drawing your attention to the soles of the feet, and then just allow the soles of the feet to relax, to broaden outward slightly. Draw your attention to the tops of your feet. Feeling the tingle of awareness. And consciously relax the sample area. Draw your attention to the tops of your feet. Softly relaxing the skin and the muscle, and the bones of the tops of the feet. Draw your attention towards your shins. Allow the shin bone to sink into the calf muscle. Draw your attention to your kneecaps and feel like the kneecaps open up like the iris of a camera, sinking down into the legs. Draw your attention towards your thighs and allow the fronts of your thighs to sink down into the backs of the thighs, the femur bone just sitting in the bed of the muscle. Draw your attention to your torso. Feeling the skin of the torso and allowing yourself to just release down into the floor. Soles of the feet and the tops of the feet and the shins and the kneecaps and the thighs, the torso are all just surrendering into the floor. Draw your attention into your arms and feel the skin in connection with the floor and release your arms into the floor, softening and relaxing the skin, the flesh and the muscle. Just relaxing the arms, the upper arms and the forearms and the palms, and all the way to the tips of the fingers. Spend a moment to feel your neck and your head in connection with the mat and the blankets. Feel that from the crown of the head, the skin descends from the crown of the head down into the forehead, down into the cheekbones, down into the back of the neck. The longer we stay in this basic relaxation pose, closer you become to be quiet and released. Okay, when you're ready, just gently prepare yourself for the prospect of moving. Just wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. Just bringing yourself back into this pose. Bend your elbows, bring the hands into the abdominal region. Just be conscious of the energy of the breath. And then just bend your knees, just remove your eye covering, just roll over and sit yourself just up in a seated position. we're going to bring the bolster into our back, just long ways so we can stretch out along the bolster. A blanket for your head, and stretch your legs. Stretch your legs out. So just adjust a few times just to make sure that you feel comfortable. Just feel the openness of the chest. Feel how the shoulder blades mold themselves around the cylindrical bolster. Cover your eyes. So it's heart pose. It's good for energy. Feel the lightness and the heaviness of the body. The heaviness is the physical body. The lightness comes from our energy that rises to the uppermost skin. So it's trying to lift us up off the floor as though we're full of helium. Just think of some pleasant things that you can do with your evening. It's eating something delicious. Just watching a TV program or series on Netflix. Recognize that demand on now helps you to just let go and release. Notice the energy flowing through your body. Notice the lightness, feel the quietness of the brain and the stillness of the body. Ready. Just begin to wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, just bringing yourself back into this pose. Then just gently bend your knees and roll off your bolster, just sitting down, laying down on the sides of the body, just laying down on the right side of your body. No rush to sit up, just laying down on the side. Just again, rub the palms of your hands really briskly together, keeping your eyes closed. Create some heat between the palms of your hands. And then cover your eyes with your hot palms. Just open your eyes underneath the palms of the hands. Just looking into the warm, energized darkness of the palms of the hands. And then very gently, just gently releasing the hands from your face. Just introducing light into your eyes as though it's like the sun rising over the horizon. Stretch out your top leg and bring yourself up into cross-leg position. So just sitting back in cross legs, just hold around your knees for a few moments. Just allow the spine to just feel like there's a natural rising up, almost like the energy of a seed that is poking out through the surface of the earth, reaching up towards the sun. Bring your hands into Namaste. Draw your breath in through your nose down into your abdominal region. conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice this afternoon, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the gentle focus and breath work and restorative poses bring to the body and to the mind. And then gently draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to seek to generate or to acknowledge the positive energy that you've created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. Just release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. Before you open your eyes, just allow your eyes to settle. Again, just stilling the eyes. And as you raise your head, just allow your eyes to softly open and focus to softly come back into your eyes. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel like you've given yourself just a little bit of time to feel that you can just let go of any anxious feelings and just let go of the day and giving yourself good energy for the rest of the evening. So thank you very much.